This morning we conclude one of my favorite little series that we've done in the life of our congregation in some time. We are in the last week of Eastertide. Next week we will begin the season of Pentecost with the coming of the Holy Spirit on that birthday of the church. And during Eastertide, the season of Eastertide, between Easter Day and Pentecost, we've been lifting up moments of our experiences of God in our lives, much like the disciples following the Easter event experienced Christ on the road to the Emmaus and by the Lake of Galilee and in so many different ways. If you have not had an opportunity to be here and to hear individual members of our congregation's what we've been calling Mountaintop moments, they are available on our website, and I cannot lift them up to you and recommend them to you enough. They have been incredibly inspiring and special. Today we conclude with our final Mountaintop moment here at the 10 o'clock by welcoming Wes Padfield to our podium to share his Mountaintop moment. So.
Thanks, everybody. So when I first heard about the Mountaintop moment, Louise Jacobus, I love you, Louise, she came and asked me if I'd like to speak, and I said, yes, I want to speak. I love my church. I love all the people here. I don't know if I have a Mountaintop moment. That sounds kind of dramatic. And I don't know if I have that kind of a dramatic story. So, all right, let me look. We got Paul on the road to Damascus, and he goes blind, and they can see, and there's all this dramatic stuff. And then I looked at Elijah, and it's a story that you all probably know. It's Elijah. He's running for his life, and his life is rapidly approaching its dramatic end, and he's scared, and he has no place to hide. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is some dramatic stuff. He hides in the desert, and the angel finds him and sends him, says, you got to go to the mountains. And he goes, and he's in a cave, and the voice of the Lord comes to him, and there's no escape, right? Sometimes, I don't know, I feel like I want to run away too, but maybe I'll run away to Mexico, and it's just not going to work out for me. But then the voice of the Lord comes to him and says, hey, you got to get out of this cave, you got to go outside, because I'm going to pass by. And so then there's a powerful wind, and it tears the mountains apart, and it shatters the rocks, but the Lord wasn't in the wind, right? We know this story. It helps me kind of ease into it here. And so then after the wind, there's an earthquake. And so, we live in Southern California, and every now and then we feel a little shaky. But the Lord wasn't in the earthquake. And after the earthquake came the fire. We know about fires here. But the Lord wasn't in the fire. And then after the fire came the gentle whisper, the still, soft voice. And so when Elijah heard that, he pulled his cloak over his face, and he went out, stood at the mouth of the cave, and the voice came to him and said, what are you doing here, Elijah? And so that's when it becomes my story. And so I imagine, because I haven't heard a voice, but I imagine the voice would say, Wes, what are you doing here? And I guess I'm telling stories and interacting with stories and acting them out and sharing stories. And so, Louise Jacobus and her beautiful story about the diamond imagery, and I've heard her tell it before when she was a child, that becomes part of my story. I can connect with it. And we have a book full of all kinds of great stories. And we've got Daryl's stories that he shares with us every week. And we've got Azar and Robert Farrell and everybody who shared their Mountaintop stories. But that still small voice, I think I know what that is. Because, I try not to generalize about, other people's lives and, extend and assume. I try to be open to, I don't know what other people go through in their lives. So here I am in my life, and honestly, it's not all that dramatic. There's no earthquakes and fires and mountains toppling. It's mostly dishes and laundry and driving the kids around, and it's like in those quiet, sort of mundane, regular moments when I'm looking at myself in the mirror, shaving in the morning, or when I'm in traffic, just have an opportunity to just let things settle down a little bit. And it happens all the time. Like just so we've had all this rain, and it's been great because now I have grass in my lawn, and for the longest time it was just dirt. And so I think that's a miracle, right? So I've got grass growing, and it makes all the insects grow, and I've got cats, and they bring the fleas in. And I thought, well, I guess that's a miracle too. So sometimes, I'm like itching my ankles, and what's going on down there? There's always something down there. And so sometimes they hitch a ride. So I'm in the car, and just yesterday, he was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, there's a flea on my ankle," and I get it, and I'm like, "Oh, got that sucker." And I'm like, "Look," and she's like, "Ooh, that's disgusting." I was like, she said, "Why did you show it to me?" And I said, "Well, seeing's believing." And she said, "Dad, haven't you learned anything from Sunday school?" And I think, well, yeah, I guess you don't have to see to believe. And oh my God, I've murdered so many fleas. What are the ethics involved there? I have to really I have an opportunity to reflect on a really small thing that is kind of a constant presence in my life. And so, Wes, what are you doing here? So I just try to tell stories and share with the kids and help them to see from a different perspective, and that there is so much sacredness in the common, everyday, mundane aspects of life that sometimes we forget about it, or we take it for granted, or we curse about it. My favorite prayer is, "Lord, have mercy on me." And to just come up here and tell everybody that I love them. And so, I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the treasures that you've blessed me with. Thank you.